Call this meeting to order. Public hearing, it's a local hazard, or Clarendon, Vermont, local hazard mitigation plan input. Any comments?
So, Mr. Chairman, I went through and looked at a few things that I saw. Mostly what I'm concerned about and that I've talked numerous times at this board level on is the flooding items.
Yes.
The rest of it to me seemed like it was pretty
Cut forward.
well, and not only that, but it seemed pretty similar to the old one. That not much change, but some of the
I think drought. Yeah, I think drought was one thing we added this year. Was a drought.
okay, which I mean,
Which there's nothing you can do about it anyway. There's no.
The concerns that I think centered around for me was some of the language regarding the flood overlay, the zones and some of that stuff. And again, that's one of the reasons why I pushed for giving people at least an opportunity who live next to rivers to show up tonight, because I think that's the big thing. So,
do you have can you like point out specifically?
Or you have your copy.
I grabbed my wrong marked up copy. That's my old one that's marked up.
If you get Katie the marked up copy, she can always go through it.
Because I think I'll try to take notes on the comments so I can submit them to Stephanie.
Okay.
So,
my other copy is obviously still in the truck because this is, like I say, this is my old marked up copy of the
Where's your truck at?
19 out here, but I can go dig through. But so I don't know if anybody else has any comments. I can look here and get back to you in a minute. Because I know there was at least 3 spots I marked that I just thought needed some.
And they all entailed about the flooding.
It was all flood related. That's all that I
think that's what he's
That's all
looking for.
cash.
is this what I'm
all-
looking for?
See, and
Mark it up, Bob? Or,
I didn't mark it up really, I just went through it, and I'm thinking about the same as you, concerned is the river thing.
oh, this is your copy. I've got my fresh copy. Let me see if I stuck it in
Section
here. I don't
5
think
talks
I
about the
did,
different
but-
types of flooding, if that helps you.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Say that again, Katie.
Section 5 talks about the different types of flooding and like specific areas in Clarendon, if that helps you. Starting on page 8, or 7 and 8.
See, and I'm not too familiar with the Mill River as far as the impact on, I wouldn't think there'd be too much issue above Route 7,
On that side.
on the upper side of Route 7 bridges. I'm not,
Well, and I think Irene proved that. I don't think that you had
didn't
much,
have
other
much.
than on Cold River Road, there was the issues along Cold River Road.
well, I'm talking about the Mill River,
Oh, down here.
down here, the Mill River itself. And the only impact would be below Route 7, from Route 7 bridges to the creek, which Alf had some
They
comments about, which,
you guys evacuated Kingsley Mill. But aside from that, I don't think you had anything up above. Was there any issues out, what's that drive on the upper side of the covered bridge? Were there Nipes?
No, we looked at some properties there, but nothing got close.
Nothing got close.
Yeah. And this plan is not supposed to have anything to do with Irene, just an FYI. That was brought up, that was told to me when I first started, right?
Even though they mention it all the time?
This plan is supposed to have nothing to do with Irene, and so when it got brought up, I did question it, like, this isn't, wait a minute, so.
Yeah.
basically looking at mostly like spring runoff, snow melting.
Is what it's supposed to be focused
Yeah,
on.
and then, you know, a heavy rain event, not as the magnitude Irene was.
Yeah.
Alf Stromolson called me this morning and gave me his comments,
Okay.
which I'll run by you guys. So he said along the Route 7 bridge over Mill River, there used to be flood chutes along the southern side.
That the one that goes down that old
Yes.
trestle.
To the old trestle, yeah.
And since Irene, they've been filled and haven't been taken care of.
It's true. There's at least two offshoots on his property on this lower section, and they
Yeah.
probably are both filled at this point. Because there's one right below the bridge that you can see that used to go out
To the old
to
trestle.
the old trestle, and then if you went down a little further, there's another branch off down
That affects
further as
the
well.
railroad too, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's what he also said was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
the railroad
think
bridge.
that the second one is just below the first trestle, because there's two trestles. Because if you stand
Yeah,
at the,
that's
if you,
Right.
if
The
you
Mill
stand at
River
the town,
trestle, then the
and then the overflow trestle, that's the
Should that be
over,
included
yeah.
in the plan? Those trouble spots?
Yeah.
see, and I'm not
Which
familiar
I-
with that area down in there. So.
I'm not sure. So that's something, like, maybe should be included in the plan. I'll run that by Stephanie as like
Yeah,
a
let's-
trouble
yeah.
spot.
Let's do that, especially that runoff one that goes more towards the south.
Yeah,
That's it, overgrown with trees and everything else now.
yeah, and that's what
Yeah.
he said. He also said, I think near him, he was talking about how after Irene, they came and took the fill out underneath the railroad bridges, but they left all that sediment.
Right,
Yeah.
well,
And he
both,
would like that taken care
both the Coal River and Clarendon River,
of by the state.
both,
That's good.
when they clean that out, go look at it now. I mean, you could walk underneath that, especially the Coal River by your house.
Yeah.
Now you can't, you gotta bend way the hell over
Yeah.
to get under it. And then how about where you're out, where you guys had the field? Remember they,
Solly Road and the road were even worse. Eating fields out. Nicole's been down there walking and stuff, her family.
yeah,
But you know, and that comes right back to the same issue, old issue. If the state would maintain that, no, you're not gonna cure the problem completely. But you would eliminate a lot of the problem if they were in there cleaning that out every 5 years or something like that. But
yeah,
no.
that's what we pushed
Look at that.
prior to. Remember, we pushed, when the state wanted to expand the runways.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden,
Yeah,
we were
they
down
done
in
it.
there, oh, it's important, this. And ever since then, and even after Irene,
They haven't,
no.
no?
So one of the first areas that is page 16. And it says that you guys discussed, which is good, discussed the continuation of the NFIP program, which we've been considered in compliance for a long time. And that's where it talks about, number 2 is adopt river corridor protection. And that's what we have adamantly said no to.
Yes.
And I know it's only a suggestion, and I know it's not really worded like binding, but it's still there. And it's like, to me, with where we've been with that issue, at least since I've been on the board, it's been all 5 of us so far have kind of taken a pretty strong
You
stance
denied
against
it every
that.
time.
Would
You denied it.
we?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Take it out. Just take it out.
so number
Yeah.
2
Get rid of it.
in my opinion, I would take out number 2. I question if you guys got any explanation from her on number 3, because to my knowledge, the floodplain maps basically are what they are, and they haven't been updated in forever.
No, it's been a long
Because
time.
we were nervous that they were going to get updated after Irene, and based on Irene, that there was going to be a whole bunch more land put into the floodplain that really shouldn't be.
Water went
So you don't
through
want
it.
to keep the plans up to date.
No, so I guess my question is what that means. Like, does that give them, because it says working with the RRPC
Do it too,
to ensure that they're kept up to date. Okay, but what's going to determine up
Are
to
they,
date?
they're gonna expand it.
I guess that would be my question. Like,
Right.
What is the specifics?
what are they really looking to do? I mean, I realize this is non-binding and that it's not whatever, but by having it there, I guess to me, it opens the
It
door
opens the
for
door. You
what
get
we
your
might not
toes in.
want to necessarily dive into. I mean, the floodplain maps for Clarendon have been what they've been. You know, everybody knows what floods in the valley.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said to her, I said, nobody builds a house on Creek Road in the flood.
Correct.
I mean, people know in Clarendon,
Like-
not to build a house on Creek Road South,
Clarendon
on
knows,
that side,
like,
know.
And I guess it
Yeah.
would be to protect somebody from coming in and buy land, but at the same time, you would do your homework before you bought a piece of property and start throwing a foundation in.
But even if you did do that and you said, well, I don't care what they say, you still have to get a permit from the town, and that would,
Yeah.
I think, start a conversation about, you know,
Well,
you
take out
can't
number
build
3
there.
then, see what she says.
I mean, I guess three to me is a little bit more up for discussion. 2 to me should go. Like
Yeah,
two
two.
I think needs to be gone. But
Right.
3, if you want to have a little discussion or maybe a little clarification on what it really is trying to
Maybe take out
accomplish.
the RRPC part, just, you know, just ensure that the
Work with
flood.
the town.
Yeah, or just ensure that the flood plan, the flood plan and river corridor maps are kept up to date, and just period on it, not be working with RRPC.
But wouldn't that mean that you still have to, in some way, shape, or form, deal with the RRPC?
Well, you're going to have to anyway. And last I knew, there was a floodplain update that came down from FEMA at one point that got issued after Irene, and FEMA was trying to update the floodplain, last I knew. But I don't know. You've got 3 different agencies in the state of Vermont, and between state of Vermont and federal, and none of them are going to have the same map.
Right.
I mean, that's the other reality. They're all going to have their version.
Well, that's the issue I have at that 63 acre field. They got a bottom third of that it's in floodplain and never floods, other than Irene coming in from the upper side.
Well, and that's the thing. Like down here,
Not right.
you know, I mean, you know, and it was funny because the last major flood for this area was what, 73?
Yep.
And, you know, the people who were here, grandpa and dad and all of them, well, we know what happened in 73, so watch, because this will be what'll happen, and then you'll know if it's worse or not.
No.
So, I don't know. So that was my first one. I keep on going here, but. It might have been closer to the beginning that I found some that. Are you, I get, you know, Cash, you worked obviously on the mitigation for all the road stuff.
Right.
I mean, I know part of it comes out of MRGP, I would assume.
Yeah, it does.
So,
Through, that's our grant process.
which is the grant process anyway, which we're ahead of the game on that right now anyway.
Right.
But the question is, you know, are you happy with what, I know you were on the team, so are you happy with what that section says at this point?
Yeah, I mean, we've got our hot spots in South Creek Road. I mean, Walker Mountain Road floods some, and
Yep.
where the joint of Mill River and Otter Creek. It's, you know,
Down on
it's impacted. I mean, there's,
It is
what
what
are you
it
gonna
A
is.
little bit there.
Does that flood much to the east down there with used to be farm fields, right? I don't even think they hay in there anymore, do they?
by the ledges.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all hayfields still.
yeah.
And it does flood.
Page 22. The top two, the top one again goes into your river corridor
Yeah.
and establishing river corridor bylaws. So to me, that would be one that I would have concern about. And then the second one is, and I guess probably this is just because I've been starting to deal with this in a different capacity, the stormwater stuff that's coming out of the state is terrifying. So I don't know as if we really want that in our plan. I mean, the stormwater stuff and the 3 acre rule and all the stuff that's coming down from the state, I would hate to give any nod to it at all.
I
Because,
absolutely don't want to, because.
You had these
what you're
categories,
doing-
and you had to rate the, you had these categories, and
Yep.
you had to rate the categories, score the categories, and we scored this one on the lower side.
because I see it's 5 compared to some of the others that were higher numbers.
Yeah, we really, and
And we
there was
al-
kind of a push from the other side of trying to make it higher, but we kind of pushed back.
And we tried to take this actually
Yeah.
out,
Yeah,
and then she pushed back and wanted it kept in. But for the project timelines, it's gauge the public support, political will, and we decided, well, we'll throw it back to the select board in 2022, and they'll knock
Yeah.
it down, and
Yeah.
we'll just be back to square one.
I'd love to see us just strike it. I mean, why can't we push?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't get the
Yeah, why
stormwater
stop
management plan
pushing
either,
the members?
yeah.
I would personally, I would axe the first two on that page if it was me. But that, I mean, I'm only one person.
Well, two people, because I'm all on board with that.
I would push back and axe both of them.
Okay, we can see what happens.
I mean, ultimately, they are working for us. We need to remind them of that occasionally.
Well, you're taking people's property privileges away, but you're still paying taxes on the land you can't even use.
Yep.
So that's BS.
I mean, like the next page is routinely clean and repair. You guys do that anyway because you guys are blowing out culverts and keeping them clean. I assume that's what that's talking
The
about.
management.
It's kind of the management, so that makes sense.
Now, speak to that where they have, expand water supplies for fire suppression.
Dry hydrants.
Yeah, no, but I mean, how's that looking around town?
Not bad, we just put one on Anderson Hill Farm, and, because we had two more going in Chippenhook area, but because of the lack of getting pipe. Next year, they said for pipe, so, but it's going, that program is gonna be fading out in Vermont in the next few years. That's, the person who runs it moved to Maine, and he's gonna phase that program out in the next few years.
That's the
Bring it to Maine.
rural whatever that we
Yeah.
typically, the voters
Yeah.
give the $100 to or whatever.
Yeah, bigger grants on them every year and stuff, but I mean, it's getting, we get more and more. We got a couple, one on 133 next year, and we got one next to you to go next year.
Yeah,
You know,
Constantinos?
yeah, yeah.
So pretty much everybody be within a 3-mile radius of a.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to make it, I mean, East Street's still the hard one, and we've got Spencer's, and that's it, so. That's out of town. East Road, East Street, that's out of town, it's difficult.
You guys test those all the time, do you?
Yep, we're out there maintaining and testing them, yeah.
Oh, Spencer's, where do you get that out of that pond that he has there? All right, how about by Taylor's, across from Jeff Taylor's old house there?
That's a swamp.
Yeah, it is, but it's a pond too.
Rain now, isn't it? I think it's just a trickle.
I was gonna say, I think the beaver dam's gone now. I don't think
Okay.
there's much in there.
Yeah.
My other question, so again, I know it was given a low score. The vegetative buffers and it's on page 25. To stabilize stream banks and all that, and I get it. I know that that's what it is, but the project timeline is for the select board to appoint a committee to work with NRCD, but by next year. By next, a year from now, actually, because it's October of 22.
Right.
Push that date out further?
Well,
Yeah, we can push
How do
it
you-
past the
Push that
5
date
year.
out further.
How do you get a
Put it out,
committee?
2026.
well, and I guess, again, we're talking. I guess my question is, so what's that look like? Are there, because most of the farms at this point are already working with NRCD to have their buffers in place. So with that already established, this is obviously targeting homeowners that buffer that. So like Nicole's gonna get approached by this committee, and because she lives next to the river, and they're going to come to her house and tell her, hey, you need to put in buffer zones next to the river, so many feet off of it, and hey, this shed's too close, you guys got to move it, or whatever.
Project that was above the bridge where they wanted to remove.
No, this is separate. This
Because
is
I thought that was that project when they were referencing it.
this is actually to form a committee for outreach to other people, is the way I read it.
Right.
For like a flood chute, they're talking like Stromosas have over in that end of town, looks like.
You mean
Right? Is that what it says in there? Right? It says establish a flood chute upstream of the bridge B14 on Middle Road.
Well, so I understand, so it includes the project, which we know is gonna be done.
Yeah.
But what I see that is, again, that committee is bigger than that. This is bigger than just the one project, because the one project's gonna be done.
Right. So what they're looking at, and I didn't pick on this up till now, looking at the little dry bridge, and using that somewhat for flood chute,
By Danny's, you mean?
Danny's, and if you do that, then you're opening up the corridor to flooding
Below.
below out Murray's house, the whole business.
The whole, yeah,
The whole
everything.
shebang. Dan's house, the whole.
'Cause all it would have to do
all
is-
the way to the barns.
All it would have to do is inundate like it did in Irene, and it would be everything.
If they want. Yeah, it's like cleaning out this one we were just talking about, Route 7 down here at Elfstramos's.
Yep.
We did a clean out up there to make that work like that, and if it was high water, water be coming down there, and we want to keep that water in that river at that point.
So,
So the
That's the
other
whole
thing is,
purpose of removing
that's
those
where
berms.
this river has no capacity because of all material that's in,
Correct.
within the floor of the river.
the difference between the two places is you've got infrastructure up there that's gonna be threatened by it. Down here, you really don't have the
Don't have any
infrastructure because it's,
Right,
it's different.
right.
So, I mean, that one raised my eyebrows a little bit when I saw that, because I think,
Establish a committee though, and the committee finds nothing wrong, right?
Depends on who's
Right.
on the committee.
Right?
depends who,
Point you two on the committee there, and then you guys find nothing wrong, and everything just goes away, doesn't it?
Did you get that, Bill?
You too, huh?
Have him on camera when he said that?
Well, and I was confused on the project was managed by Rutland NRCD. I guess because it was past tense, I was confused on
so
the language
the
there.
the bridge above you guys, the B14, that one is managed by NRCD, correct? At this point?
As I know.
And
as far
that's
as-
something that's happening then, sorry.
The Cold River berm.
Yeah, that's, when's it
With the berm
supposed to
removal.
start?
That's with the berm removal.
Correct. That's supposed to start when, though?
Actually, they just got another extension because they can't be in the river after October 15th.
So it'll be next year. Oh, my word.
Not that they're dragging their feet.
Gosh.
The permits they've required and
Why can't they be in the river after October 15th?
some about spawning and
season.
all that stuff.
Yeah, duck season.
Well, there you go.
Don't want to disturb the McGanzers.
Okay. All right. All right, well, that makes sense as far as that goes then.
Okay.
I guess the question comes down to what people want to do with that. If you want to,
Well, might want a better explanation of it.
You want to change the project timeline, or you want to nix it?
If you're asking me, I'll nix it. Hell with all this. Ridiculous.
you want to nix it? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on board with that. You want to nix it? I would nix it.
What's your feeling, man?
Check it out.
How about you, Cash?
Nix.
Nix. Big nix.
Now, if that's removed, does that mean that you don't have the ability to remove the debris that's accumulated in the river? Or can you still do that, but it doesn't have?
We
to
don't
be-
have the ability
Don't have it.
I know, but.
for,
That's where, that's where some of the plan we emphasize that the river has no capacity.
Correct.
and
I don't think by
needs to be
taking
managed.
that out, I view taking that out as more of a protection on
Personal
It's not
landowner.
bringing
personal
extra
landowners
attention,
getting pressured on things that maybe they shouldn't be. I mean, that's my thought process on it. I'm still trying to find my other two. I had like 2 paragraphs, and that was towards the beginning that I was just kind of, yeah.
Grab it.
I don't think it's in there because it would have been with this.
See, and part of that flood chute, if you read that through, is coming north into the pines that were with the berm removal.
Up above.
Yeah. But what's gonna happen is they're gonna say, well, you got that dry bridge there, let's develop a flood chute over there too.
But you,
That'd be totally wrong.
but I'll tell you right now, if that was to happen again, this place would be packed. Cause that's not, I mean, that's not happening.
No,
I don't see that happening.
I think we ought
I'm
to
just trying to be open.
I know,
with it.
no,
we gotta
I,
take that the hell out of there. In the first place. That's ridiculous. I mean, maybe
But
100
does
years
that
ago.
we lose control with clout?
Why?
what do you mean, lose control of what?
You know, if we take that out, does that say that they can do what they wanna do and they can actually say, no, we can have no stands behind it?
I don't see it that way.
no, I don't.
Alright,
Cause I think
By leaving it in there, it gives them more power.
that's the way I would look at
Okay.
it too.
Yeah,
I say take the damn thing right out of there.
yeah, take it right out, the whole thing.
It's always been a contentious issue anyway
Right.
because of how narrow the road is there. So we can, under the guise of building the road better, we take the damn thing out of there. It doesn't serve any purpose. You saw that with Irene. Had no purpose whatsoever.
Not talking about Irene, though.
Huh?
Not talking about Irene, though.
No,
but
but
it's
that's
been
just an
mentioned 40
example.
times in the paper.
Example. Oh,
The plan.
example.
Was there somewhere in here, and maybe I was dreaming that, and I'm trying to remember what my other comment was there something about joining the mutual aid agreement for municipal equipment?
I don't think so. I think they took that out. I thought.
Yeah, I think
came
that's
out.
okay.
That
was-
got
it was
taken
brought
out?
up again, and
Okay.
I said, no, that's not.
Cause I'm trying to
I think
jog
they
my
talked about
memory.
Maybe the fire department mutual aid system, maybe.
I did see the fire department in here, I just wanted to make sure that, cause we,
But not the,
It should not be in there because remember we brought it up too.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have taken it out.
Yeah, it should have been
Right.
out.
I guess it just baffles me, some of the stuff that they push to be included, like, you know, warn homeowners about the risk of freezing pipes.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's an easy one to do. That's an easy one. Close the brochures up. You're done.
I
you know?
mean-
it's
I guess I scratch my head at some of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, really? I guess it's where we are, but
Live in Vermont, pipes freeze.
Yeah.
Can't believe that.
Somebody sits upstate at a desk, comes up with all these ideas. I seen it firsthand. Your father-in-law must be seeing it now.
You need to get out of the dome once in a while, just to see the sunlight.
Unbelievable what they come up. It's getting on towards 6:30.
I did have a question about the map. Now,
which one are you looking at?
the map on page appendix B. B2. So this does list the river corridor, and I had thought that we had decided not to do, it's at the very end.
This map
Yeah,
here,
I don't think in my copy. I don't think it got printed in my copy.
got a big version someplace with
There's a
almost
big,
the last page.
yeah.
I got this.
So
That's it.
that's it right
Oh,
there.
there it is. I got it.
they have the Vermont River corridors. Is that something that's automatically set up, or is that something that's added into this plan?
no, that's all over the state.
Yeah,
Well, I know, but I wasn't sure if this was a new, because I know at one point there was discussion about river corridors, but I thought we had decided not to participate.
So it's labeled on the in the side there. It's labeled as the Vermont corridor.
Right, so that's what I was,
So it must be a state level thing.
okay.
Would be my, because we have not formally in the town of Clarendon adopt
Well,
anything.
that was our understanding, and so
Yeah.
I want to make sure with this, we weren't adopting
Correct.
it.
Correct.
Because I believe,
The biggest conversation that I can
I think
remember,
it's
Bob,
a FYI map.
correct me if I'm wrong, is just the river over here, when they were taking the bridge down and they were selling that 11 acres.
Right,
Remember that River Conservancy group
they
came
come in
down?
and bought it, yeah.
And that was the only thing that they wanted to buy it and own it or whatever and then donate it to the state or something. I can't remember exactly.
Didn't they, as I recall that, doesn't that go up the river a ways?
Yeah, up to the
Up
bridge.
to the covered
Right up
bridge.
to the
it goes
bridge.
to it. Yeah,
That's all that River Housing Authority or something like
Yeah.
that was.
yeah. River Conservancy or something.
That's what it
whatever
was,
is.
River Conservancy.
Yeah.
I thought it was on this page. Let me just read quick and see if I can find that.
While Rob's looking at that, you have anything you wanna add to this, Matt?
No?
No? How about you, Cash?
Put a lot of time in this thing.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I appreciate, I don't want you guys to feel like we're tearing you apart. I mean, that's
Oh,
not.
no, Robert.
No, because we're gonna put you on the committee next time.
You're coming to the next meeting.
It'd be mandatory.
Katie will tell you that I said to her, if I had more time, I would have done it, but I just didn't have time to do it this time.
Set up out, we'll set an office at the fair up and we'll put, have a meeting
Yeah,
at the fair.
there you go. Clear that with the boss.
There seems to be a lot of clout there with
Yeah.
power with.
I mean, it's just not the five of us sitting here. There's, how many, over the years, how many people that live next to these rivers have come into the different meetings complaining about what the hell's going on with the state making all these laws?
Yeah.
I can't.
You take the village over there, the safest house is the one, hers that's closest to the river, because of the because of the new approach when they built the new bridge.
Yeah, raised it up.
They raised that approach up.
Which I know they're not talking about Irene in this, but they did actually leave out that that bridge was undermined during Irene.
Yeah.
Not that, don't add it in, but.
Well, it says, actually, I'm looking at it, page 10, it actually mentions it. It
Okay,
says
because it said.
scouring of
it said
abutment
only
too.
One bridge was impacted, I thought, which was the Route 7 one, and
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, it messed up one of the.
Another thing, they might have, I took it that the undermine was actually the blacktop, because actually they had to fill in underneath the blacktop. That's why there's a rise there when
No,
you
it
go into
also
the
was the
bridge.
abutment though, that they.
On the north
They
side.
had to
south
add
side.
to it, on the south.
South
side.
south
I
side.
remember they had to do that.
North side did.
No, it was the south side.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of Route 7 one.
Thank goodness it held.
Yeah.
And now as we speak, that's, water's headed that direction now,
Yeah.
because
They
the
put all the new.
material that's built up in it
Built up
is
over
shooting
there.
water right into that abutment.
Dragging there
If,
with the right-
if
with
I
the
find my
south
other two comments, I'll send them through to the board, but I think that's the bulk of what I
Southeast
had.
Alright.
If I,
The upper side.
Yeah.
if
on
they
the
do
upper side
turn
of
up,
the
I'll let you know.
Anybody else have any comments?
I would just ask that you get your comments to me as soon as you can.
I will. The longer it takes, it just delays it
I know.
that much longer, so.
Don't say what you mean. All right, any other comments on this? All right,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adjourn the public hearing.
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Done. Does anybody need to take a break before we start number 2?
No, let's go.
Football night.
Get it done.
All right. Called to order Monday, September 27th, 2021, Clarendon Town Hall. Our official meeting is starting. At this time, I'd ask for, is there any agenda additions or deletions?
Mr. Chairman, under new business, I think we have to have just a short discussion on town hall furnace.
Okay, is that your motion?
Yep.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Who
anything
seconded
else?
I did.
Cashed it.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, approval of, September 9th minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Road Commissioners report.
I got this.
Um,
Or just-
we had a
before that.
request about speeding on Gravel Pit Road. And we have to post some signs up there. It's 25 miles an hour.
Right.
And on that road, if you're going 25 miles an hour, it's like going 50 on Route 7.
Yep.
No matter how you are, because of twists and turns, ups and downs.
Yep.
I don't know what the board's pleasure is, other than we
I'll
get
contact the
signs up.
sheriff's department. Once you get the signs up, you gotta have some signs up.
Yep.
So you're ready to put signs up then?
Gotta
order
I
some.
do now. Well, I had a bunch of signs,
Okay.
but I'll save them for the berm removal project.
Yep.
We were gonna drop that, but now that's gonna be delayed. I can use them signs and order
Okay.
more later. I can,
All right, so,
I wish Nicole hadn't left.
So I would go ahead and I'd just like to make a motion that
Right,
we begin the process to set the speed limit with a school zone at Mill River Union High School. As far as an ordinance, because we gotta draft an ordinance, so begin the process of drafting the ordinance.
Will this be an amendment to the ordinance?
Yes. So drafting an amendment to the ordinance for it to be 25 miles an hour when students are present, with lights. I'd like to see lights on the signs.
I'll second that.
Can you also motion what section, like where you want it to start and end?
That's state stat, you'll have to look that up, because it's so many feet each direction.
Probably like almost quarter mile each direction, I would
I
think.
don't know if it's 500 or
I don't know.
1,000 feet before.
Lights powered by solar?
think there's
or they-
May,
I'd like to see solar.
It'd be better, you
That's what I'd like to see.
won't have an electric bill
I
every
don't
month.
that-
recall, I don't think it's I don't think it's that far,
With that being said,
100 feet.
this is kind of the request of the Unified School District. Why should the town residents be responsible for the finances on something like this?
If we're gonna have to hook into power,
Or even without power, for a safety zone?
we had talked about it before when we were gonna have to do a crosswalk and it was gonna be a cost share.
yeah.
I mean, we certainly can go that route again. But my motion is to start the process. We can have that discussion separate.
All right, is there a second to Rob's?
Bob seconded it, I
Yeah, I
think.
seconded his.
And we are having discussion. At this point, the school hasn't proposed anything to us. This is a town venture.
They just responded and said they'd like to see us do it.
Right, but I mean, we're the ones that are initiating this, part of this discussion. When we get into the discussion a little bit deeper, that's when we decide how and who is gonna pay for it.
I mean, the fact that I'd like to see lights and signs.
Yep.
I mean, I'd like to start that research process sooner than later, and let's approach them about covering half of it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
Because that way, yes, it's in Clarendon, but that way, technically, the rest of the district has kicked in to help cover that cost, because it's benefiting the whole district, which is
Right, so if it's-
however many towns now.
so if
Safety.
it's solar lighting, then the initial cost is what you're talking.
I'm talking about the initial light,
Yeah.
the initial cost, and yes,
And-
I would propose solar, no doubt. I mean, that's, to me, makes the most sense.
Also would add to it that future maintenance is onto the school, the Unified District, to maintain them.
I don't think you'll ever get that, but you certainly could ask.
Try.
You could try.
I'm
This
just
is
afraid
the
too much,
first
too
step,
much
though.
gonna come out my highway budget,
Yeah.
that's all.
Well, let's hope they don't have to be touched for 15, 20 years.
First thing you'll be long gone. I think.
So, is this the same blinking light that you were talking to me about, or is
No.
this gonna be a separate one?
No, this is like if you go on Route 7 by Christ the King, when school's getting ready,
It's on a timer.
it flashes next to the sign so that there's actually like a warning.
So when students are present, meaning like when they're dropped off and picked up, or
Yeah.
throughout the whole school day?
Nope, it's, well,
You
actually,
can time it that way. I
you
suppose.
can time it, but I think like Christ the Kings, for example, come on in the morning at whatever time,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they go out at like
Yeah.
after the drop off has happened, and then they come back on in the afternoon.
Yeah. They're on for about an hour, aren't they, up there?
I think so,
Something like
Yeah,
something like
about an
that.
hour.
So the sign specifically says when lights are flashing, this
Right.
is,
Yeah.
Lower
like
speed
automatic
Speed limit's
assessment.
25.
And I think the signs even say when students are present or something like that.
Yeah.
okay. But this is just the start of this. Okay,
I mean, we gotta draft the ordinance, so that's gonna take some time.
right. All right, so there's been a motion made, seconded. We've had some good discussion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So that's unanimous. Katie,
Okay,
all the troops.
next thing I have, ready to move on,
Yeah,
is an access permit. Mr. Chairman, you should have it in front of you
someplace.
on the lower end of East Street. The gentleman, what's that?
Which lower end of, what,
South end.
the south end, okay.
North is up. Okay. on the
Some
south-
people would say you go down to Kingsley Bridge, so what's the lower end?
Okay. It is just north of the Clarendon town line on East Street above Davenport's farm.
Okay,
And there's a gentleman that has purchased that property and there's our existing barns there, but up the road he wants to put an access off the road for 2 houses out there.
Okay, does he understand the access policy?
That if there's no culverts required,
Okay,
if it's flat, it actually goes away.
okay.
It's all good.
make a motion to have the chairman of the board sign the access permit on East Street.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Do you need his name or anything, or?
No. Sounds like good fine Irishman though. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's 181 East Street, 181.
181.
When I was growing up, that was my house address. When I was in the Marine Corps, that was my platoon number in Paris
The
Island.
next thing we have is,
Cash wants to go home.
want to daylight this culvert policy that we have. And there's a little bit confusion apparently. And the way the policy we have in town is that when there's a driveway, new driveway permit required, that the property owner and his contractor are required to purchase the culvert and install it at the road commissioner's discretion
Correct.
of setback and length. This one,
And they can purchase it at the town's cost.
they can purchase at the town's cost.
Yep.
Yes. And right now, culverts, I've already ordered 4 15-inch culverts and I won't see them to end October, maybe 1st November. They're so backlogged. There's no culverts to be
And
done.
then after they have installed the first one, it's on the town to maintain
Thereafter,
thereafter.
provided they
Yep.
put it in
According to
properly.
your,
That's
according to the
come,
road commissioners,
And what I've been doing is having them put in a 30-foot culvert instead of a 20-foot culvert, because a 20-foot, when you get fuel trucks and garbage trucks driving out
Drop off
and
the
making the swings, they're dropping off the ends and then we have to go repair the culverts.
my
And I'm trying to get them set back farther.
driveway is a good example.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask the board that when somebody applies for a permit like this,
Yep.
that we give them a copy, a written copy of what the policy is. So that there's no going forward, no more.
I'll make that a motion.
All right,
Second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Anything else, Cash?
Yes, I didn't realize this till Heidi helped me find it on the map today. Apparently the town owns property up on Walker Mountain Road where the old mill used to be
That's
in that
right.
area.
By the bridge?
So we do own it. You asked me that and I wasn't sure.
We found it, am I right, Heidi?
Okay.
And
That's
Cindy
where the old
Davis,
school used to be.
No, we're the
Mill.
stone mill that Norm
Okay.
cut
Cindy
down.
Davis's driveway,
Yeah,
across the road from her house.
yeah, okay.
She gave me a call this weekend, I don't know how many times, but that's all right, and took pictures of it, and we actually went up and looked at it. There's an old cistern there that got filled in years ago, and for some reason, the material got, like 4 or 5 years ago, got pushed away from there. It's exposed, that cistern, supposedly, the fire department went up there quite a years ago, and got a dog out of the bottom. A firefighter had to go down in the cistern to get
Don't
the
remember
dog
that,
out.
but okay, yeah, sure.
Well, you're not old enough yet. So this cistern is now all of a sudden, I don't know where the material went, so we need to fill the cistern back in. So I went up and looked at it today. My suggestion is we put in the 3 to 5 inch rock because I believe some of that moisture is coming out from underneath the road. And
Okay.
to actually let it breathe
Okay.
and get out.
Okay.
All right, I don't have a problem with
I
that.
don't think we even have to, I think
No.
you just do it.
Yeah, that's not a
I'm
big
just gonna
deal.
bring it up to you, that's all.
Yep.
What else? That's it.
Okay. Approval of, select board warrants. They're floating and drifting. If anybody wants to check them out, everybody should have signed them by now. Guest is not here tonight. So we'll move on. Any public comments? Okay, old business, Chippenhook Cemetery maintenance.
Cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Your hand was in the way. I
No,
didn't see him.
I was gonna say that's, I assume that's why Kevin's here, right?
I mean, that's an agenda item, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll just put my turn. Opportunity to work on my patience.
No, we're saying we're to you. We just,
Oh!
that's,
throw it out there.
Stand up, sir.
Yeah, I had put maintenance on the agenda,
okay.
because the lawnmower, guy contacted me and said he found like a stone in the brush near the fence line, the eastern one.
Yeah,
And it turned out it was Shirley Cole's, stone. And all that brush is like growing back up. And so he recommended taking it all down along the fence line.
Yep.
And he quoted $800 to push it all back and seed it down.
So moved.
do we, wait first, what do we have for,
You have about $4,000 to
Oh,
remain.
okay.
So yes.
all right, so it's been motion, seconded, any discussion?
Unless we're gonna send cash up with the weed whacker again.
Maybe.
Oh, don't go there.
Sandy is right behind me.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Okay.
Chippenhook Cemetery.
Let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in August, I found that stone. Lane Douglas took me up, we were up there doing some work. Lane Douglas goes around, opens up the cemetery, opens up graves now. He took me over to that site. And Katie sent you to your email to a picture for all of you. And all it is we brushed off all the leaf debris from last fall off it. And there's a little, if you look at one of those pictures, there's a little stake in the ground. And that's where the head of the casket is dead center on the head of the casket. And basically that's it. And the stone is up against the paving, it's a little bit bigger than paving stone, but it was laid up against the stone wall. So I got in touch, I came here and showed Katie it, and that was that item I wanted to put on the agenda, and I took off
Yeah,
because Patrick Healy hasn't got in touch with me from the Vermont Cemetery Association, trying to find some direction on what's really required for a monument, some type of permanency in a cemetery. I mean, that stone was already covered up against the stone wall. No one would know it's there, except we brushed it off in August. And,
So we're still talking about Shirley Stone?
right,
Cause she's only been buried for a
last
year.
fall,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
If that-
everything-
If that, yeah.
Everything, you know, it's right up against the stone wall, I got the trees, the leaves fall, it was covered. So that's why I've been waiting for some direction to find out what's actually required. The only thing I've been able to find out right now is the fact that the town's responsible for indigent people putting a marker in the ground. In my mind, I've come up with like a, stopgap of putting like a cinder block down on the ground and then maybe attaching a stone. I have adhesive when I repair markers, just a couple drops to hold it in place, keep it up off the ground a little bit, and, so it's there. The stake in the ground is not gonna be there forever,
Mhm.
and then everything's gonna disappear, so.
there's, down there on West Side, where they sell those monuments.
Or bulkers.
Well, yeah, do they have anything that is already pre-made? Instead of a cinder block, you can put in the ground and put a,
Well, they pour
I was
4
gonna say they
foot,
pour.
Oh,
4
okay.
foot down.
Yeah, they pour.
Yeah, they pour 4 foot, base.
We could check at Holden's down here. You ever tried them?
I haven't tried them. I was just waiting to see what the requirement is, and then, if we want to approach the family, or we just want to absorb it, the town itself. The other thing I was going, about the area you're talking about, is on the cash and weed whacker. I think cash and wheelbarrow, fine fill, and shovel would be a lot better.
I'm sure.
The ground is not level.
Yeah.
No.
And if we can get some fill, fine fill, and I'm not saying, and level that area out, level it out.
I just got that parking lot all straightened out. with all the fill.
It's not wet on that corner, so there wouldn't be any risk of.
And you're getting back there.
Yeah.
But there's,
Actually, small Kubota would get back there, right?
Right, that's right. Yeah, if someone's got the fill there.
Alright.
so why don't you two guys work together?
We
There
can
you
work
go.
out something, but,
Yeah.
you guys got the picture on your email.
it does, it drops out. Well, we're the ones who staked out that grave when she was buried.
Right.
Yeah.
But you also, but it looked like in August, it already grown in.
Yep.
How much fill is required? Just a
I
bucket
have
load?
no idea.
Quite a bit.
Quite a
It
bit.
drops off.
It drops off and
It drops off.
and it drops both ways, because as you go, towards the far corner, it just keeps going downhill.
So if she was covered, I guarantee you the guy that was buried next to her is covered up too,
No, because they put his marker
on the other end.
on
upper
the top
side.
of the,
Cause his was just a tiny little thing too in the
On the
ground.
hill.
The grass.
right, but he's
Okay.
in the grass at the top of the, like,
Okay.
we marked it and said that the stone needed to be placed
Okay,
down over the bank, unfortunately. But they placed it
the other end.
on the other end, on top of the bank in the grass. So
So he's fine.
they've maintained that, but our
Okay.
our mowing
We're
crew,
looking at
they didn't even know
at
that
least
was
a
there.
tandem load.
Oh, I bet a tandem
Or if
load.
not two.
Yep,
So what section needs the fill put in?
by Shirley's grave, by the
It'd be
coal
So should we,
grave.
coordinate with
The
the
North,
mower people?
be the northeast.
Yeah,
corner.
northeast. I'm willing to go up there and meet Cash, or sometime when I'll go up there, and it doesn't have to be done today or tomorrow, but it's just that ground is so.
How big's the tractor you got?
It worked.
At this point, do we know if all the there's 2 lots in that corner, I think, that were blocked off that were never sold because they,
We
It dropped
decided
off.
it's full.
I know, but that, just because it's declared
Oh.
full doesn't mean that all the graves have actually been used yet. So like, but we've declared it closed and that
Right.
all the graves,
No more.
all the plots have been sold for that cemetery. However,
I don't believe they're full.
they're not full yet. In other words, families still own plots that they're still allowed to bury in.
Yeah, like Dave Potter, for
Like
instance.
in August, he said that he pointed to the left and said that there's 2 or 3
Sites,
sites right here.
but it's family sites.
Already owned
I
by somebody, these already purchased, so they're already purchased by somebody. But I don't think.
I think if you look at the map though, there's at least 2 lots to the north of Shirley that were blocked off that they
right.
never they never sold.
There's at least,
At least 2, if not
not
3, that were X'd out that said do not sell.
yeah, we know that.
Okay.
And if Phil was brought in here, probably could build it up to.
Yeah.
So then the only thing that'll need to happen is if you're gonna do that with Phil, then you're gonna need to coordinate that, like Katie
Right.
was just mentioning, because if she goes back and tells them, okay, so clear it out and seed it down, and then they do that, and then you put all that fill on top of everything they seed down, then it defeats the purpose of seeding it down. So,
So probably
Maybe you and I ought to have a.
what I would say is the first step is have them clear it.
Yep.
clear it
Get the
down.
brush
And
out.
and I would tell them, I would amend what we're talking to them about and say, don't seed it yet. Is what I would say.
Yeah.
It's getting kinda late to seed it anyway, probably, but.
Yes.
Yep.
I think,
And they could come back, we could sit there and ask them to do this in the spring or something too. cut the brush and do everything that's, they come do it in the spring.
Well, how about this, if you and Cash work together real quick, just
Got your
to,
tennis shoes on?
I'm talking about
Have
really
flyers.
quick.
We're talking about the corner, two corner stones here.
Yeah,
Oh, the excavator ain't been home enough to,
Yeah.
it's been on the road.
Well, first step is to have them clear it.
Right.
Get it cleared, and then go from there.
Yep.
That's the first step.
had enough, huh, John?
Come again.
Do you,
Afraid you're getting close to my gravestone.
See you, John.
but in the meantime, do you want, I've put a fiberglass rod, when I saw the email Thursday, because I kinda sat on this, figured it wasn't gonna be an issue for some time, it hadn't been an issue for a year, and who knew it was there. And so then I saw that they had cleared it, I went up there, I put a fiberglass rod where a stake is in the ground. So we'll probably hold off on doing any work and trying to find some way to make it more of a permanent, fixture for a monument. I mean, for a stone.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that, you know, you brought it up to the board's attention. Now I think it's up to you guys to, you know, work it out, plus having Katie contact the folks and clean that. And then, once that's done, maybe you can go up and look at it, and if you need some help, give me a call. Like, you know, I have a little Kubota tractor with a
I've
bucket
got
of it.
that marker in the Marsh Cemetery I talked to you about.
That big one?
Just as long as Katie, when you get in touch with them, just let them know there's a white fiberglass, not to move that.
Okay, yeah.
All right?
Sounds good.
All right. Heidi, have a report for us?
I think there's a
Something else. we-
under new business and
New
grand
business.
list correction, which I can actually speak to. So I don't know if you folks were given any information about the grand list correction from the listers.
This is all we got.
Okay, so, it's a correction based on personal property. The listers rely on companies to submit their forms every year to say what they have in town for personal property. And the one that's before you submitted the form, and then it was in a big packet of information, and at the very bottom of that packet was a note that said that those pieces of equipment were removed from town. So I think it's like $8 and change.
$8.19.
There you go. So that is what that correction is, rather than having to go through the whole abatement process later on.
Make a motion that we approve the grand list correction with signatures by the board.
I'll second that.
Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Alright,
Right.
Anyone opposed? Pass this right along here pretty quick. Anything else, Heidi?
We're in tax collection time. The tax due date is coming up here. It's October 16th, which is a Saturday. I will be here that day from 10 to 4. We also do accept postmarks. We are about 20% collected right now. We have quite a ways to go in the next 2 weeks. I will be here, I'm typically here anyways, Monday through Thursday from 10 to 4. Next week, I will be here Monday through Friday from 10 to 4. That's October 4th through the 8th. And then the following week, I will be here the 11th through the 16th. That's a Monday through Saturday from 10 to 4. And folks, of course, can call me anytime for any questions they may have. Our number here is 775-4274. So yeah,
Your extension 2.
I am extension 2.
Any questions for Heidi? Katie?
Today was the last day to accept the public comments for the hazard mitigation plan. So I will be passing all of this discussion on to Stephanie tomorrow morning, and then we'll probably have more planning team meetings to go over it. And any of you guys are welcome to join that if you'd like to. That's all I have.
All right, Cash, you have any questions?
Yes,
What about
we're
the
running back
furnace?
to new business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
Furnace.
I have two things. Well,
I
Robert
even
has
wrote it
one,
down.
the furnace, and I had something else. Robert, want to tail on the furnace, or?
just that it was brought to our attention that, the, furnace needs looking at. I guess, of course, we were due for annual service anyway, and the concern was, I guess the preference is a different company this time. So, I suggested, one that I know that has been used before is Bernie Webster. I don't know, there's others that are out there. I mean, this is a hot air furnace, so, you had a name too, didn't you?
Yeah.
So,
Want it? Like, I didn't know, like Mike Sheehy, or, I mean, this is
There's-
pretty simple furnace. Hot air, oil burner.
Yeah.
but it needs service anyway. I guess it needs attention anyway. It's got an issue of some sort, but before winter it needs cleaning and normal stuff anyway. So I would say that we just need to, in my opinion, and I'll make that motion, that we authorize Katie to contact somebody to come and do a cleaning.
Now, is to make sure that this is the responsibility of the select board, not the town clerk.
I thought we've always done it, haven't we?
I don't know, I always get a phone call if something happens.
Mice, furnace,
Champlain don't have a service?
Well,
If
that's
it's-
true.
If it's an emergency call that needs to be made, we have just, in the past, just done it because it's an emergency call in the middle of winter. But as far as
But
I can
our
call Bill and ask
responsibility
him, but-
is, we
The select
have the
board?
town hall maintenance, right?
the select board
Alright, so-
has responsibility for the town hall.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
But do Champlain have a service?
Hey, that's a good suggestion. I'd call them first. They're a fuel company.
Yeah.
There you go.
And also
thing
set
is-
that up on a yearly bid, because that's something that should be done once a year, every fall.
Well, no,
Gone through. Yeah.
And the yearly inspection, what's,
Well, they usually do that when they're
Do
cleaning.
that when they service it.
Do it all at once. Supposed to.
so Katie, you have,
we can reach out to Bill to find out.
there's a motion
Robert
about to
motion.
be made. Who seconded it? Anybody?
I'll second it.
Okay, Cash seconded it. And we'll, work on that this week, right?
Oh, yeah.
Before we get
I-
cold weather. 'Cause
I'd like to use, if Bill has service out of Middlebury, but the other thing is it's gonna cost more because of travel. So,
I've seen his trucks down here, I think, though.
is it down here?
Maybe I'm dreaming, but I thought that,
We can check into it.
I would check it.
Yeah,
We'll
Yeah,
just
check
call
with
Bill.
work on it this,
Yep.
rest of this week.
Let's just see what, I mean,
Yeah, because you have to have better luck. With somebody selling you oil, you have to have better luck if you need them.
that would be my first question is, do they service in this direction? If it's gonna be an extra service charge, like Cash said, get somebody local.
Right.
Yeah.
That it on that?
Well, there's a motion made, seconded, we've had discussion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, now,
Yeah, the thing I had, I don't know, Heidi had found a speed sign.
Oh.
Well, Lamont. You wanna fill in?
She emailed it to all of us. We have it all. We all got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say, Katie, do you
I
want?
couldn't open it up.
Oh, okay.
I emailed the Isle Lamont clerk today to see if it was still available, and I haven't heard back. I reached out to Rutland City to see where they got their one that's on Lincoln Ave, and they said for me to contact the sheriff's department or Rutland City Police.
It's a sheriff's department sign on Lincoln Ave?
I thought that was so bizarre.
It's permanent.
2 different ladies responded to that email and said that.
I guess we let our liaison to the sheriff's department reach out to the sheriff's department
I
then.
also reached out to Brad
What is it we're
Keith.
getting?
So there's one of those speed signs that's mounted to a telephone pole
Oh,
that
okay,
does
yeah.
the radar and says whether you're going too fast or whatever.
Right.
Thank you or slow down.
And and it is, it's on Lincoln Ave on the south end. If you're driving from Grace Congo towards the school, it's on the left-hand side of the road, and it's permanent. It's attached to the, it's not a cart, it's attached to the telephone pole.
That's, yeah.
That wouldn't be the sheriff's.
And I said in my email,
I wouldn't think so.
believe it.
I would think it'd be DPW, but maybe not.
that's who I emailed, and
Okay.
I wonder if they read it too quick and wonder if they
That's
thought
what-
we were talking about a cart.
right. But I mentioned in the email the one that's like on,
On Lincoln
Ave.
Ave.
So maybe they're just not remembering or whatever.
Unless it is, unless they went through the sheriff's department to order it or something.
Yeah.
So we're getting off kilter here. Do we want to have
How much was it?
3,000?
It was 25 or 2,600 for the sign, and then 400 for the software.
So that's what they paid for it. And they said that they're looking to, it's brand new, they've never used it, they're looking to recoup the cost to the town, or as close to it as they can get.
And it's 2 years old now.
Yeah, it was purchased in 2017, I think. That's the
Oh,
date
it's
on the
older
invoice.
than that then. And they paid what for it?
3,000.
Almost $3,000, yeah.
in software. The other thing is, look at Wallingford's got the one coming out 140 into Wallingford. That sign's been there for
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8 years now.
That's solar powered?
I believe that's solar.
What,
West Rutland's got one too.
so, this, do we have a fund that could come from?
Sheriff's Department.
Yeah.
We know
I'm just
we'll
trying to think what we've got for,
get some more results out of it.
Get a
I mean,
better chance to see Jesus walking
Your
the
line
road.
item is signs and pavement lines. And
Here
that-
goes the highway budget. I knew it.
Yeah.
We purchased a lot of
And I mean, that budget is $2,000. 131 has been spent. The only other thing is you do have a contingency fund.
we spent some of that though, didn't we, this year?
You have a $5,000 budget and you spent almost 1,500 of it. But, so you do have money there.
And we gotta make it till next July. What was our 1,500 contingency that we spent?
Remember.
I remember voting on a contingency expenditure, I just don't remember what
But
it
if the
was.
thing is,
Something to the school.
2 or 3 years old and it costs them $3,000,
We ought to only pay 2 for it.
yeah, or 1,800, and let them come back with 2. Hope they don't watch this on Peg TV.
Up from 15, see what they say?
Yeah,
There was one other town that did reply, on Friday after it came across saying that they were interested. But haven't seen much activity, but most folks go directly to, they don't respond to the whole listserv anyways.
Make a motion that we offer Ilamont $2,000 out of the contingency fund for the speed limit sign.
there's a second?
Sure, I'll second.
It comes out of the highway budget, or the highway, the sheriff's
Contingency.
budget.
Contingency.
I know. Just
Where would we place this?
Let's see if we get it first, then we can talk about it.
Your $1,500 out of the contingency fund that was spent for the new website.
Oh, okay, yeah, alright, that's right.
We don't usually spend a lot of money out of that contingency.
No.
do we?
No,
We don't.
it's kind of like
So
your
this would
emergency fund.
be a responsible thing to do for the taxpayers in town to get them to slow down a little bit. Maybe we could put it by the school, but that's another conversation.
That's another discussion, yeah.
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, let's do unanimous on that, please.
Okay, Mike, now you can ask officers. Or Mr. Chairman.
I have
You
no
need something to throw at
Is
him.
that enough?
You can throw it at him if
Okay.
you want.
Got anything?
Just one quick little thing for cash, if you have a minute.
No, we're not.
Short job.
That sign's gonna go on Moulton Avenue.
Up just beyond the post office, the little cement bridge.
Yes.
Them weeds are out there just enough. Somebody that didn't know the area might get over there a little bit and catch that bridge.
Okay,
It might be,
I'll take a look at it.
you know. But that's all I got.
All right, I'm good.
That's
Rob?
simple.
I'm good tonight.
I'm good.
So moved.
Who seconds it?
Aye.
All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Anyone opposed?